Hey guys, back at it again. I'm really been having a great time doing this Chuck Norris action movie reviews here, mainly because I just get in that Chuck Norris mindset of you don't really have to be a great actor, you just have to make sure the stunts look great and you provide great action. Um, I'm going to go over do them in double feature format here. I'm going to go over a couple of other great Chuck Norris favorites from the old school and get more into the early 80s Chuck Norris here instead of the late 70s. Changes his look a little bit on into the 80s. He starts growing the mustache out a little bit and starts getting more into the beard look. And eventually, I think by around Lone Wolf McQuade Missing in Action or somewhere around there, he gains the beard and loses the blonde hair. I don't know, it's just strange. Just like overnight, he changes his look and it took off. I mean, that was his look that he kept for like decades later or something. Anyway, enough with Chuck Norris's beard. We'll get into that later. First one I'm going to talk about is probably his first big budget mainstream movie. And I think he signed on with one of the bigger companies at that time, MGM, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. The movie is Forced Vengeance, and there he is with his big manly mustache and kicking in front of the big light sign there. Yeah. Tagline: an awesome display of spectacular karate action. Chuck Norris in Forced Vengeance. I actually like this one better than most of his earlier lower budget features. This one's got a little more humor in it built in. He's got this wacky wardrobe in this movie though. It's like a cross between the urban cowboy look from the early 80s that was such a really bad time for fashion. He sports a 10-gallon hat. Now, I don't have anything against cowboy hats, but it's got this big 10-gallon hat running around the streets of Japan for most of the movie, and got a very members-only type style jacket going on there. So you can kind of tell these earlier movies like this, he's trying to hone his look down to what really will fit for him for the next decades to come when he got into doing Walker, Texas Ranger, and all that. But anyway, getting more into the story of this one, he is he's not a mobster in this one, but he's more like a collection guy slash casino security man for a fellow that took him in after post-Vietnam, whenever he was getting out of the service. He stayed in the Orient and stayed on as a security slash casino worker for this really nice Jewish man that takes him in and gives him a job, gives him a career basically. And he's like, Chuck's got this studly little boat. He lives off the harbor in a boat and has a real pretty girlfriend, and everything is perfect until the son of the guy that took him in basically gets in trouble with some of the local mob and loses a lot of bets and owes them a lot of money. So the mob sends its enforcers and kills his employer and frames the employer's daughter. So it's all about how he has to go find the daughter of his former employer while trying to sneak around Hong Kong and not get caught by these mobsters, and also stay away from the police at the same time. He gets into all kinds of karate fights along the way, and the usual Chuck Norris action ensues, but it's decent action in this one. And he does a really kind of a half corny voiceover for most of this movie as well. It's got a good showdown on a yacht where he gets all dressed up and dressed up in like some army uniforms, and he infiltrates the boat there. And I don't know, good. You can tell there's a little bit more money behind this one for a Chuck Norris movie, that is. And Forced Vengeance has a really great. You can see it on the cover there, that light sign where he's doing a little roundhouse kick there. Chuck Norris trademark kick. It's got a great slow motion fight in front of that light sign, and it uses part of it in the title, in the beginning titles, but it also showcases that fight towards the middle of the movie where they're on the run from the bad guys. There again, it's directed. It's got some sound direction style by James Fargo, who you'll know from Clint Eastwood favorites like The Enforcer and Every Which Way But Loose with the big orangutan and all that. So you know the action's going to be top notch directed there. Not much else in the way of anybody else that's a name actor in this movie. You might see some faces in there that played some heavies or some villains in other movies. There again, widescreen version going over the DVD. Picture's pretty good in this one. This transfer is really clean. The sound is very clean. However, I think the sound on this one is not a surround sound mix. It's just a 2 to 0 mono track, stereo mono, I believe, stereo track or something of that nature. It's got language tracks, subtitles, theatrical trailer, kind of a bare bones edition, 90-minute video, rated R from 1982. Pretty good flick. Got to watch it if you've never seen it. Great. I get to talk about one of my top 3 favorite all-time Chuck Norris movies. I'll get it more into the 2 other favorite ones that I have. It's always a 3-way tie between 3 movies, and this is one of the 3. It's got to be the 1982 classic Silent Rage. Chuck Norris in the lead role as the sheriff of the small Texas town that is terrorized by a ruthless killer. Oh, and the tagline in this movie, I got to go say that first. It's just classic. And it's on the poster that I showed in my poster video, but science created him. Now Chuck Norris must destroy him. What is really great about Silent Rage, folks, and this is one of those bridge kind of movies where it covers a lot of different genres. It's hard to classify this movie. It's got a little bit of everything in it, folks. It's got, of course, first and foremost, Chuck Norris in the lead role, and you've got the action coming from Chuck Norris. Top-notch fight scenes in this movie. They're very great. I love the action in this movie. But it's also got science fiction. It's got a little bit of Frankenstein story in there with the bad guy. They bring him back to life with some experimental serum, DNA serum. And it's also got horror elements in it too, because once he's reanimated, he goes around stalking people. It out and out steals from Halloween. It's even got a good synthesizer score, which I'm a sucker for, that picks up on a lot of cues from John Carpenter music. But even though it lifts a lot of those cues, it's one of those really good all-around movies. It's the only outing from Chuck Norris where he dabbled in science fiction and or horror, for that matter. Basically, it's just a kick-ass movie. I mean, I really enjoy this movie. I could watch this any time of the year. It feels great to watch it. It's just a great experience, is what I mean. He's a small-town sheriff that basically... when he's not kicking the butts of local bikers and stuff like that, which was a great bar scene fight in this movie, he kicks the butt of the whole biker gang. Anyway, during the course of the first of the movie, there's a mental patient that's basically living in a halfway house that goes crazy one day, kills a couple people. He shows up, saves the day, and kicks his tail end, and the local cops end up shooting him because he gets out of his handcuffs, and he escapes from a car by kicking the door off the car. This guy's really strong. He's really he's just a run-of-the-mill psycho. It's played by Brian Libby. It's also got a performance by Ron Silver, who you'll see from other movies. Stephen Furst in a comedic deputy role. You know him from Animal House and a couple other movies that he's done. A very good outing when he's not doing a lot of kicking butt in this movie. He's got to take on Brian Libby's character, who's been reanimated by a mad scientist that works with Ron Silver. They reanimate him with this serum that's experimental, the mitogen 35 or something like that, some goofy thing. But anyway, once he comes to life, it's got some great special effects. They'll cut his body and it grows back together instantly. It's like he heals like Wolverine. He just heals instantly. And that's what makes it interesting. It's not your usual foe for Chuck Norris. Then that's when it really kind of takes stride there, whenever the killer gets on the loose and he starts stalking people like Michael Myers, and it's pretty good after that fact. It's got a really corny love story that kind of lulls the movie down in the middle of the second act, but you can kind of look over that. Chuck Norris is a stud. He takes her to bed within 5 minutes. You know, hey, where's another 10-gallon hat and plenty of flannel, plenty of denim in this movie. DVD quick rundown. Digitally mastered anamorphic video and audio in this movie. It's very clean. It's the best presentation I've seen of Silent Rage. Widescreen and full screen version on this DVD. Good audio track, subtitles. No behind the scenes features, but it does have bonus trailers. Gotta say, it's a very clean transfer. Very good movie. If you've never seen it, it's a crossover movie between science fiction, horror, and action. Gotta get this one if you've never seen it, even if you don't like Chuck Norris movies. Silent Rage. It's just hokey fun. I mean, even if you don't like Chuck Norris movies, you got to watch this one because Chuck's just great, man. He's great. B. Jr. signing off from Endurance Productions Movie Reviews. See you next time.